Welcome back to another episode of the Wizards podcast. I'm your host, Greg Finberg. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about another win. The Wizards, it took them 15 games to win their second game of the season, and it's taken them just two to win their third. That's now two wins in the last three games for this team after a 129 to 126 win over the Milwaukee Bucks, a game in which the Wizards trailed by as many as 16 points in the second half, rallied back behind the bench unit, which really carried them through the second and third quarters and into the fourth. And then you had veterans like CJ McCollum and Khris Middleton making clutch shots down the stretch to kind of carry them to the victory. And then you have Bilal Coulibaly defending Giannis as good as I've seen a lot of defenders guard him throughout his career, and coming up clutch with a late game steal, a poster dunk on Giannis to seal the game. Just a really complete showing, a gritty showing. And look, I know a lot of the pro tank people are going to be mad that the Wizards have won two of their last three games. You know, this isn't the goal by any means for a lot of them, but this is the type of game. Like even if the Wizards had lost this game, I would have been content with the loss because they fought back. They were right there. They made it a game. So if they lost, you would have been like not the best effort on the defensive end, especially from the perimeter. The Bucks shot the lights out and were wide open, but they fought back. A lot of the young guys stepped up when they fought back. The veterans stepped up, and they made it a game. But even better for them to be able to pull games out like this, and better for guys to get reps like Keyshawn and Bilal to pull it out. And no Alex Sarr tonight. He had right adductor soreness. I don't even know what the adductor is, but he had soreness there, so he was out. And he's also out for tomorrow's game, the second of a back-to-back against Philadelphia. He was out, obviously, Trey Johnson with the hip, Corey Kispert out with the thumb, Sharif Cooper has some sort of calf strain. He wouldn't have played anyway, but he was also out. And you had all of that production out between Corey and Trey and Sarr, and this team still found a way to beat a pretty good Bucks team. Like, if you're the Bucks right now, obviously this is just an abysmal loss. Like, you can't lose to the Wizards, especially after being up 16 points with Giannis playing. Like, they're pretty healthy, and they lost to the Wizards without their best player, which is crazy for the Bucks. But for the Wizards, this was a really good win. I'm going to break it down for you. Didn't start the best. You obviously had a lot of miscues early on, some turnovers. They actually limited it to four in the first half, just pretty bad turnovers. They also allowed the Bucks to shoot 63%, 11 of 17 from three. A lot of wide open shooters. AJ Green torched them. Obviously, they had some problems staying in front of Giannis, but Bagley took two charges. And by the way, we'll talk about Bagley. He was absolutely phenomenal all night. Really played well going up against Miles Turner in those starter minutes with Sarr out. Tristan Vukcevic also had a great game with 16 points. So you got some good production from your depth in the front court, something that you wouldn't have foreseen, obviously, this season going in, thinking they have no depth. And to this point, the depth hadn't been that great, being Vukcevic, but I thought he was awesome offensively. And I thought they hunkered down, in the second half. They were down 81 to 65. Bucks made a couple threes. It was actually during that sequence. There was two times where Keyshawn, who had a pretty up and down game, Bucks made a three, and then Keyshawn stepped on the line when he was inbounding the ball, turned it over. And then a couple of possessions later, the Bucks made a three. Keyshawn got the inbound and traveled. Bad sequence. Wizards are down 81 to 65. They then go on a 20 to 5 run, which is all behind much better defensive effort. Bilal was up top. Cam Whitmore was playing good defense. Even Bub Carrington was holding his own. Like, this team was actually really active on that end, forcing steals, missed shots, contested shots. They go on a 20 to 5 run. Eventually, take the lead. It's an extended 26 to 13 run to end the quarter, and they're down just three entering the fourth. From down 16 to down three, and it's all because they played really good defense. And then in the fourth, they were right there. The Bucks made some runs. The Wizards made some runs. But when it mattered the most, their veterans took them home. I mean, this was a banner night for trade value. Like, the real winner here, I think, is the Wizards, but it's also trade value because let me tell you, like, Marvin Bagley was phenomenal. Khris Middleton was awesome down the stretch against his former team. CJ McCollum continues to be sort of that clutch player the Wizards sort of lacked last season. Poole had some big time shots, against Denver, against Charlotte, but also had some bad moments late in games. Same with Kuzma, who kind of called his own number. Also, by the way, loud boos for Kyle Kuzma in his return to Capital One Arena. Drew Gooden and Chris Miller, they were a little surprised. I guess they're not on Wizards Twitter too much, because if you're on Wizards Twitter, those boos probably weren't even loud enough. Like, they weren't as loud as you thought. based on how people had just sat because Kuz did not. I don't think Kuz acted the right way towards the end. What he was saying to the media and about I want out and we got to win games and then all that stuff. It's just like, dude, you chose to be here. But that's beside the point. A lot of boost for Kuzma. Um, I had some guy commenting on mine. I think he commented on Varun's post too that they were just saying Kuz, and I'm like, no, it's pretty loud booze. But going, out of the way. CJ and Khris were awesome down the stretch. I just want to bring up the final in the fourth quarter, just to show kind of that sequence and show you that what I was talking about. Bench comes in, does a great job to keep it close. Wizards with 5 minutes left are trailing by one. Then CJ gives them the lead with a 15-foot jumper. Bucks take the lead back. They're going back up by. I think they took the lead by as many as 5. Yeah, with 3 minutes left. And then you have Bagley who makes it, who has a dunk. Then there was an awesome pass on the next possession from Keyshawn. It was Keyshawn assisted both the dunk and the next one, but Keyshawn dribbled into the paint on the second one, found Bagley behind the defense with a nice bounce pass, wraparound bounce pass. That cut the deficit to 1 with 2 minutes left. Then you're going back and forth a little bit. Khris Middleton with a nice and 1 with 1:20 left, cut it to 1, misses the free throw. And then you have Giannis, who misses a 13-foot jump. I mean, the Wizards' defense on Giannis was awesome down the stretch. Bilal was making him work so much that Giannis was like hunched over, hands on knees, and that's also because he's returning to play, missed a while, so I'm sure it's getting that conditioning back. But Bilal made him work. Like Giannis got his own. I don't know how much he finished with, maybe 26, 27. But Bilal made him work, forces a miss there. Bilal gets the rebound. And then Middleton, it was kind of like a botched possession, just gets it in transition because Giannis didn't run back. And he drains a 28-foot three with McCollum on the assist. Wizards go up 2. Giannis makes 1 of 2. And then you got CJ, who just hit a tough three-pointer sidestep over AJ Green. The shot making from him and Khris, like none of them were like quality looks, I would say. Chris's was a quality look, but CJ's shots were all self-created down the stretch. He had one where he put his defender in the mixer. I think it was Rollins, hit the mid-range jumper. He was just so awesome down the stretch. That gives the Wizards a 4-point lead with 15 seconds left. Bucks inbound the ball. It goes to Giannis, back to Turner. Then Turner tries to force it to Giannis because Bilal was draped on him. And Bilal pokes the ball away, rushes into the open court with Giannis trailing as the time goes down and throws down an emphatic dunk. Giannis was right behind him and won. You could call it a poster. I don't think so. It was more so just kind of finishing through the contact from behind, but just an awesome play from Bilal. And it encapsulated, my friend Bijan tweeted it out, and he said it might have been the best play of Bilal's career. It may be, like, he's had some awesome, like, poster dunks and highlight plays, but tonight's game for Bilal sort of encapsulates, like, why I'm so bullish on him and sort of why I think it's unfair to analyze how he's played so far in the role he's been forced to play. Like, he's been forced to do a lot more offensively than I think he's probably capable of. Now, he does need to make a lot more of his threes. He's sub 30% from the year. Had a couple open looks tonight that he missed. What did he do? Finished 33 minutes, 3 of 9 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. He had 5 boards, 2 assists, 3 steals, and a block. 7 points. But I don't really care because the defense is what I was looking at. And I mean, he blocked Giannis. They only gave him 1 block. I thought he blocked Giannis twice, at least once. Had a couple steals, in that second half. The big one being that late game one where he throws it down with Giannis trailing to seal the game. But when Bilal is in a role where all he's really asked to do is just give me defense on the best player, make him work, do your best. You'll get some blocks, you'll get some steals, generate some turnovers, and just be a menace on that end. And then if you can go and give me a couple threes per game, maybe get a couple transition buckets where he's at his best with his speed, then Bilal averaging 10 to 12 points per game isn't a big deal because he has guys that can create for themselves. Like if you get a point guard in the draft, you make a trade, you do whatever, and Bilal can kind of settle into this like, I'm the 4th or 5th option on offense, and I don't really need to score unless I'm wide open, but I'm going to give you the best defense on the best player on the opposing team and sort of lock him down. Like that's where Bilal is at his best. That's what he was drafted for, to be a 3-and-D guy. And it's games like this where you have a competent team where Middleton and CJ are making shots on offense. They're closing the game. The bench plays well. And Bilal isn't asked to do too much. He can be more efficient, sure, but he was just able to dominate defensively. He made Giannis work for everything, and just I loved it. Even at the end, he fouled Giannis. Giannis got position, made him work for it, and he fouled him hard. Put his hand up. He's like, "Look, I found him. I did all I can do." And it's a good foul on a bad free throw shooter, and Giannis only makes one of two, and the Wizards are able to win the game. I say we won 7 points on 3 of 9 in 33 minutes. I don't care. This was one of the best games I've seen Bilal play in his career. Just so good, so tough on that end. You could see how much it meant, like the passion he had on the defensive end. Like, this is my assignment. I'm guarding Giannis, and I'm going to do my best to take him away, make others beat me. And he did that. He's the reason the Wizards were able to come away with this win. CJ and Khris and all that made the shots, but it wouldn't have been possible if Bilal didn't do everything he could on the defensive end to make Giannis work the entire game. So can't say enough about what I saw from Bilal tonight. He was exceptional. Like I mentioned, Middleton was great. 15 points, 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, just came alive when it mattered most. That's what you need him for. CJ with 28 points. It seems like it's like a common theme now with CJ McCollum just putting up 25-plus point nights, being clutch when the Wizards need it most. So really loved his game overall. And I mean, 11 of 21, another efficient night, 4 of 11 from 3, not bad. Was a +3 in 36 minutes. Like in the beginning of the season, CJ put up numbers. He was always in the minuses. But pretty much all the starters were relatively good in terms of plus minus tonight. But the bench was where this game kind of separated itself. I mean, the Wizards, 3 bench players in double figures. Like I mentioned, you're kind of running thin here. Like Tristan Vukcevic played a lot of minutes. Champagnie played a lot of minutes. Otherwise, those probably would have been given to Kispert, and obviously Alex Sarr would have played Tristan/Bagley's minutes. But the bench was awesome. I mean, Vukcevic started the game 3 of 3 with 7 points, finished with 16 points on 4 of 7 from the field in 20 minutes. Got to the line 8 times and made 7. Was a +6. Like, I thought there were a couple times where he was in the wrong spot. Like, I remember definitively, I think it was the second quarter, maybe the lead in the first. There was a play where there was just a bounce pass baseline to Sims, and Tristan was just caught ball watching. Like, that's pretty frequently, but he had 2 steals. Like, he made an impact in this game. The rebounds too could be better, but I really liked what I saw from him. Whitmore, 17 off the bench on 8 of 14 from the field. Another efficient night, added 5 boards, was also a +6. He had some big-time dunks. Like, there was one Champagnie lob, another Bub lob in transition. Like, he just kind of adds a spark and element off the bench that this team had been missing in recent years. And when he's this aggressive and he's making his shots, he's pretty tough to stop, obviously, when he puts the shoulder. And he's, is he 6'7" and like 250, I think he was listed at before the season. Freight train in transition when he gets going downhill. So pretty tough to stop. And he, again, was awesome. This is another game where Cam Whitmore is their best player off the bench. I've seen a lot of people saying he should start. Like, I'm not saying he hasn't like good enough to start, but I feel like he's sort of settling into this role off the bench is like that kind of spark, that just scoring mentality off the bench. I mean, that's 17 points against Milwaukee, again at 20 against Chicago, 11 against Toronto. What was it, 8 against Indiana? Didn't really play much against Atlanta. But there's a string of really solid performances, efficient performances, without him forcing stuff like he did in the first couple games. I thought he was pressing early in the season. It seems like he stopped that. He settled into a role. He's passing the ball more. So loved what he did. Then Champagnie. I mean, I'm sort of running out of things to say about him. If you listen to the pod, you know how much I like him as a player. You know how much I think that he should be a very much a part of this rotation going forward. And again, he showed that tonight when he was filling in for Riley. Riley didn't play, but filling in for Kispert and Trey. 19 minutes, 10 points on 5 of 8 from the field. 8 rebounds. Again, he's awesome at rebounding for a wing. 8 rebounds, 6 of them were offensive. The amount of second chance points, like I don't know what the stat is of like how many of those offensive rebounds turned into second chance points, but the mere fact that he had 6 as a 6'6" wing, it just adds a whole nother element, gets this team more possessions, and that's exactly why he needs to be playing a lot more, is because he can generate those second chance points. He's a good defender, played well on that end, added 2 blocks and a steal. You can't say enough. Was a +3, was awesome in those minutes. Those 3 were great off the bench. I honestly didn't think Bub was that bad. Like, again, 5 points on 2 of 6 from the field. Doesn't shoot a lot, but 5 assists and 2 turnovers. It's another game where the assist to turnover ratio looks better than it usually does. Like sometimes it's like a 1-to-1 or like a 2-to-1. This is a little bit better than a 2-1, but you're seeing a little bit more improvement. He had a nice stretch. All of his points were in a stretch. Or I don't know if it was in a stretch, but I remember he had a transition three to kind of cap that run, but he got to a spot in the mid range and hit a nice like 18-foot jumper, nothing but net. And then the next possession, beat his man off the dribble, found a cutting Champagny for the layup. It's kind of stuff like that shows you some flashes. It seems like he's still in a good headspace. So struggling production wise, like sure, but again, I didn't think this was one of his worst games, and I thought the bench was awesome. I mean, what is that? That's 17, 22, 38. That's 48 points off the bench for the Wizards, and the Bucks had how many? That's 26 plus 8. 48 to 34 in terms of bench points. Like, that's pretty good if you're the Wizards. Wizards killer Gary Trent had 14. That's not a shock. Uh, Big performance from Kyle Kuzma. 20 minutes, 3 points on 1 of 4 from the field. He had 6 assists, which is pretty good. 2 turnovers, and was a -9. Second worst plus minus on the Bucks. There's your little Kuzma update again. AJ Johnson, he turned 21 today. Didn't play at all. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter because the Wizards have him and a swap and had Middleton in that trade, who far outperformed that of Kyle Kuzma. And I know the contract is a big deal in that, but I'm just saying, Kuzma was awful. He did not look good. He did not look like he was, there to produce. He was kind of lost. And again, I was one of the bigger proponents of like, let's move on from this guy. You gave him another shot when you didn't trade him to Dallas. It's time, and they did. And I think it's turned out to be a really good move. No matter if AJ develops or no matter if that swap conveys. Middleton and his tutelage of some of the wings has been great. He's obviously been a help in terms of winning some games down the stretch, showing the young guys how to win. And he is the reason, or at least one of them, that they won this game. Very clutch down the stretch from him. So if we're looking at that trade, it's fitting to do it against the Bucks. They're trying to win. The Wizards aren't, and the Bucks are 9-13 right now. Wizards are 3-16. But if you ask who would win that trade, obviously you're going to go with the Wizards, no matter how great AJ turns out. I think it was a good trade in the moment. So another pretty strong win. Like, it's pretty funny. They didn't won in DC, at home since early April of last year, and now they've won their last 2 home games. It just kind of showcases like. It's very similar to last year. Like, they started 2-18, they were 2-2, and then they lost 16 in a row, and then they won a couple here and there. Started 2-16 this year. Now they're 3-16. But early in the season, they kind of start to like feel it out. Keyshawn tonight thought he was up and down, but he kind of made some big plays down the stretch. 31 minutes, 9 points on 3 of 11 for the field. Not great. All of his points came from 3. He added 5 assists, 3 turnovers. Was a +2, 1 block, 1 steal. So you have some good, you have some bad. I think some people are getting a little concerned. Like, in the beginning of the season, nobody game planned for Keyshawn George as this point guard. And now they are. And you saw a lot of times with Poole, people gave up on him because he struggled a lot when teams started to key in on him. Like, they're keying in on Keyshawn pretty hard. It's allowing Middleton and McCollum to do well and Sarr do well. But Key's just gonna have to learn, how to deal with that, and that's a good thing to learn now when you're not trying to win ball games. So I'm not too concerned. There's still some flashes. He had some great passes down low to Bagley to keep this team close. Played some good defense down the stretch, so you really can't be too mad at his performance. But again, another great showing from the bench, especially Whitmore and Vukcevic. Was really impressed with them, and I've been pretty hard on Tristan. I have, but you got to give it credit where it's due. 16, a big 16 off the bench, efficient shooting, was a +6. Thought it was one of his best games, if not his best game of the young season. Whitmore was awesome as well. And the Wizards pulled out another win. I know a lot of people are going to be upset that they won, but I don't care. Like, that's a 16-point deficit you erase. You fought back. You played good defense down the stretch, and you pulled out a win that nobody thought you were going to pull out against a team that is healthy and trying to win an NBA title. Like, that is a good win. It would have been a good tank loss if they lost, and they won. It's a good tank win. Like, you can have a couple of these spread out. And I know, like, if you look now, it's not like a home run. The Wizards are going to keep their pick. But like, newsflash, they're 19 games into an 82-game season. They're not even a quarter of the way there. So it's a little like premature, I think, to start going and looking at, oh, they're winning too many games, they're not going to keep their pick. If they're not going to keep their pick and they're in that regard, they will do whatever they can to keep their pick. That will happen. But you still have teams like Indiana, who has won two in a row. Or not two, I guess they lost tonight, but they had won two in a row. Brooklyn won tonight over Charlotte. They now have four wins. The Clippers suck. They're 5-16. Same with the Kings. But I would have to assume they have enough good players to where they're going to be better than the Wizards. So yes, like they are a little close. They're a couple wins from being outside the top four, but there's also 60 plus games to be played. I think it's okay to come back from 16, play well, and win a game at home like that, where you have Bilal playing big quality minutes down the stretch as that number one defender and doing really good against Giannis. You have Keyshawn learning how to deal with situations late in games as the ball handler. You have your veterans leading you and showing the younger guys, like, okay, this is how you close a game. You have Tristan Vukcevic, a young center, coming off the bench and playing well. Bagley looked like a great signing. He has all season, but he's just looked like such a great quality vet minimum signing for them to be a backup big to Sar. You did it all without the player that had been your best player for most of the season. You did it all without Kispert, without Trey Johnson, and you came back from 16-1. I'm sorry if you're mad at this loss, then I can't help you. You just want to lose games, and like that is the goal. I get that. But sometimes it's okay to win a couple. It was fine to win the other night against Atlanta. It's fine to win tonight against Milwaukee. Like if you look at the Wizards' upcoming schedule, there aren't many wins layered in that. Like they're at Philly in their next game. I don't know if Embiid or George will play, but they'll probably lose that game. And then they got Boston, Atlanta, and Cleveland. Pretty tough games. And then they got Indiana before they go to San Antonio. Like they have a decently tough schedule. They're going to lose a lot more games. Winning a couple games here and there is fine. And this is a prime example of a pretty quality tanking win where they come back, claw back, and really play well at the end. So an impressive win. Shout out to Brian Keefe. Like you're going to be hard on him. He made some good adjustments. Made it tough on Giannis with a lot of the coverages that he called. I thought he called timeouts well to stop runs. And when the team was down, he made adjustments. Got the guys running, playing better defense. So same thing I did with Vukcevic. I thought Brian Keefe coached a pretty good game tonight. Shortened his rotations to 9, which I'm happy with. Would have liked to see Will Riley get some minutes, but I understand why. Which, by the way, he had 36 points on 14 of 24, 6 assists, 5 boards with Gogo the other day. He's awesome, and he was playing on ball. So he can be a point guard. He can play on ball. I think he just needs to get a lot bigger, and obviously it's one thing to do it at the G League level. He's got to translate it to the NBA, but fantastic to see that when he does go down, he's dominating. I mean, you had Johnny Davis, your 10th pick, who would go to the G League, and you'd be seeing him put up like 7 points on like 3 of 9 from the field. Like this, there's levels to it. And Will Riley wasn't even a top 10 pick. He was a number 21 pick, and he's putting up nearly 40 points in a singular stint with the G League. So excited for him. His minutes will come. I'm not too upset. They won, shortened rotation. Thought Keefe coached well, so can't complain. But again, another fun win at home. Like you need some of this. The crowd looked like it was pretty fun. Big shots down the stretch. Thought Bilal played his best defensive game of his career. I'll post the defensive stats because I don't know how Bilal defended overall, and then in terms of his defense on Giannis, I'll have to check that when the NBA posts it. But a quality win. They're 3-16 now. A long way to go. But can't be too mad about this effort. So that's going to do it for another episode of the Wizards podcast. I will be back, I think, tomorrow night to recap that game against Philadelphia. We'll see if they win 2 in a row, but it's going to do it for this episode. Again, thanks for listening. Go Wiz.